Hello everyone and welcome back to class. It's nice to see you all here again today. In today's lesson we're going to be taking a look at Google Sheets, looking more specifically at charts and graphs that we can create using Google Sheets. Before you think this doesn't apply to you, yes, social studies, I'm looking at you. I'd stick around to the end because it actually will apply to you. So let's start off here. We've got our famous gas log graph or gas log data set. And if you don't know how to make a graph, we'll go through it real quick for you guys. What you generally want to do is you want to pick a column or two depending on the type of graph you're making. So I'm just going to go through these two. And you're going to go Insert, and you're going to choose Chart. And it's going to default a chart style for you based on whatever it is you happen to be using. But in my instance, I'm going to switch this up to a bar graph. Or a column chart rather. Bars, for those of you that know, a bar graph is horizontal, a column graph is vertical in Google Sheets, just in case you need to know that in the future. And you can see here it shows me all of my data points and their values. This may not even be the best one. A line might be a little better, but for some reason it's coming out a little funky. Not sure why. I'd have to look into that. Looked like it was repeating data sets. But I do have it here, and you can see how this all works out very nicely for me. And that's all done through the setup side, plus a couple other things. You can go into customize, and you can start making more fine adjustments, things like color, axis names and values. You can affect series information, so if you don't like the color, you can change the color to whatever color you happen to like. But also in this series section, it does have something I do think it's helpful called the trend line, which gives you the ability to kind of see the overall trending data, whether it's moving up or down. So that's something nice that some of you science folks may want to apply. Your information about your legend, if you want that, vertical axis, horizontal axis, and your grid lines. I'm not going to go too far into those. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you want something or you have questions, let me know and I'll try and get back to you with them. But I'm going to say this is really helpful, especially in like the science classes where you want the kids to make charts. And previously you've been doing it by hand. Showing them how to make them, though, digitally is going to be more of a skill that they can translate to outside of school once they leave than being able to make a chart by hand. It's going to give them a tech skill that's going to be expected of them. Depending on the work they want to go into. But let's start looking at some of these other ones I was telling you about. And to do that, we're going to go to the 2018 Winter Olympics because the Summer Olympics aren't happening this year. Anyway, my kids will tell you how upset I am about that. I am mad about that. But I understand it. I'm happy, but ugh. Now, what we have here is we have medal totals for several countries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the countries and all the medal selections. She's thinking, oh my God, he's gone mad. Yes, I have. And I'm going to go and I'm going to insert a chart. I'm going to go chart, and it's going to give me this lovely column graph that shows gold, silver, and bronze. But I don't like it, and no, it has nothing to do with the color at the moment in time. I don't like it because it's only showing me individual groups. What if I want to see how these all stacked up and also looked at totals? That, ladies and gentlemen, brings you to the stacked column chart. So a traditional column chart like that had 3 different columns for each section. This one not only still separates them and does have you can find the individual values, don't freak out on me, but it also shows me the overall comparison. So I can actually see that, look, they might have gotten a lot of gold medals, but because of their short amount of silver and bronze, they're not as high as you would think. Which is actually kind of a nice way to look at things. Now, if you're like me, you're going to say these colors don't make any sense. Bronze is wrong, gold is wrong, silver is wrong. We can change that. If you click on any specific set of data, it'll bring you over to the series section. And if you go to color, you can change the color of each of those series. So we'll change our bronze. We'll go ahead, we'll change our silver, and we'll go ahead and change our gold to bronze or gold. Whoopsies. Sorry guys, I chose the wrong thing there. Hey. Give me data. Sorry, that's bronze. And gold now looks like gold. Much better. You may also be saying it's a little small, hard to read. Okay. If you hit these 3 vertical dots at the top right, you'll actually see an option that lets you move it to its own sheet, which is fantastic. If this is a chart you want to print, you can now print it very easily and make it very visible. You can see all our colors are there and how everything compares overall. The other option in the stacked charts, and it's not one that I generally tend to use or encourage the kids to use, is the stacked column, or the 100% stacked column, which levels everything out to be 100, show 100% of a value, or whatever percentage it might be of a total, and breaks it down so things get emphasized. But it allows you to kind of see what the percentage of something might be of a specific metal color. So we can see here, about over half of these metals were bronze. And if we go back to our previously stacked, we can see that, yeah, there's a lot of bronze there. How much? It's about half. Yeah, it's got some very good value to it, but that's just how it works. And so I just wanted to introduce that to people in case they never heard of it. Let's move on to our final chart that I want to show you guys. In that case, it's 2020. It's an election in the U.S., which means every social studies teacher at some point between now and November is going to be dealing with how the election operates. It's just what happens. Kids ask. So what we have here is we have a very nice breakdown of states, how many electoral votes they currently have, and what their estimated population was in 2019, or July of 2019, just for fun. Now, what some people would do is they might want to make a graph to show this to the students. So they would say, okay, I'll select the state and I'll select the total votes. I'm going to go insert, I'm going to go chart, and look at that. That is not the chart I was looking for, but that's okay. We can work off of this. It's never given me a histogram when I've done this as a default. Fascinating. Alrighty. Normally you would get a column graph when you select this data. And we'll go ahead and move this up to its own sheet to make it a little bit easier. And you show this to the children and they go, ooh, aha, very exciting. Because vertical lines are oh so exciting to children. Instead, what I would do, and this is why I want you guys here, go back into my edit chart, and where it says column chart, no. We don't want a column. We're talking about states, right? And if you were going to show the student 50 states, you would use a map. Very good, very good. Well, if you scroll down, map is an actual option for a graph you can create. Huh. Let's hit it, because it says it's a geochart. And it's the world at large. Now, we don't want the world, obviously. We only want the United States. And you're going to say, why is there that red dot? Well, that's the city, or that's the state, country of Georgia, which also is one of our states. We want to go to customize though, and where it says geo, we want to pick, instead of the world, we want just the United States. So here we are, a map of our 50 nifty United States. And what I'm going to do though is, I don't like how they set this up myself. I'm going to do a little bit of changing here. I'm going to set my min color to this lovely light shade of green. I'm going to set my max color to this very dark shade of green, and this mid-range color, let's go to that shade of green. And now I have this very nice scaled, tiered image of my map for the students. So now you can see the darker colored states have more votes, the lighter colored states have fewer votes. I also made a mistake here because I had changed this in a previous rendition. I believe California was 55 and Connecticut was 7. There we go. And so you can see that Texas actually got a little bit lighter, as did Connecticut from the previous rendition of the map. As I mouse over any given state, it actually shows me where on the gradient scale it is, as well as mousing over shows me how many votes they get. This is a really great map for social studies teachers. I think it's not well known. You could also use this later for showing election results. Science teachers, this can also be really good if you're talking about regions and you're trying to show the differences between certain regions, like rainfall. You can make a chart of rainfall for countries, for the states, and you can have kids kind of take a look and see how things compare. Even on this one, you can ask kids, where does it seem to be more densely, centralized? Well, up here there's a lot of darker colored states than once you get over here to the western side. Things like that. But that's it on charts and graphs. Unless you guys want to send me some questions later that I can work on answering. It's been nice teaching you all. I hope you guys take this home and utilize it. We're going to do one more video later tomorrow on Google Sheets. Or as I promised you, I'm going to show you guys how to make an online self-scoring scavenger hunt using Google Sheets. But until that time, everybody, class dismissed. Bye.